how long did it take you to make this film?
Well, depends on what you describe as this film. This particular one, well, in one sense, all my life. In another sense, I started it in 1977 when I was a student at the film school and started making a documentary about my mother's life and about her stories that she'd told me about being deported to Siberia and ending up in incredible places, exotic places around the world. I never finished that film. I found myself graduating from the film school and the film was unfinished. Life got in the way. I put the rushes away in an attic cupboard and more or less forgot about them. And then I started seriously coming back to the film in 2007 when I saw that my mother's mental health was deteriorating and I realised that she wasn't going to be around. So then I started seriously thinking I've got to finish that film before it's too late. And then there was an urgency about it.
What is this film about?
At the heart of the film, it's an exploration of a mother-daughter complicated relationship, but ultimately it's a story of reconciliation.
Was this a case of you wanting to make the film or having to make the film?
Pretty much I had to make the film. I just had to find some way to make it. We had a lot of trouble getting funding, but I knew that I was going to make it some way. I had no choice but to make it.
Why?
Well, the impulse behind the story is my need to unravel this very troubled relationship that I had with my mother. And I was using, I think, my creative filmmaking, storytelling kind of way to do that, to comprehend how this relationship ended up being so conflicted and tracking that kind of journey over the years to how I came to understand and comprehend my mother's life and ultimately find a way to reconcile.
This is not just a film about your troubled relationship with your mother. This is a film about your troubled relationship with yourself.
Yeah.
This is a very critical portrait of your behaviour towards your mother.
At the personal level of the story, what I'm tracking is my relationship with my mother over the course of her lifetime and my lifetime to date. And in the early days, it was, as I mentioned, it was a very conflicted relationship because when I was 7 years old, she had put me in an orphanage. And 2 years later, she came and got me out. But from that point on, I think I had a very conflicted relationship with her because of this sense of abandonment that I'd had. But I don't think that my rebellion was anything to do with being around in the 70s, growing up, and no, I think I had a deeper need to just escape my family, which I did in my adolescence. It was because the family situation was intolerable. Well, I just felt as if once my mother got me out of the orphanage, there was a stepfather, there was another family, and I felt peripheral to that family at the time. So I just ran away to get away from that family.
Was the film, in a way, an act of penance on your part?
Well, I think the film making was an act of trying to understand and unravel, and also I think make up to my mother for my own behaviour in my earlier years, because in my maturity, reflecting back on our relationship, I could see that my behaviour towards her must have been just so heartbreaking for her to watch me running away from this family that she had tried to create for me as much as for herself. And finally, like being able to see my behaviour through her eyes, I could see just the role that I played in making her life so unhappy by my behaviour. I felt, yes, I really felt I needed to do something about it.
There's a sequence in the film where she appears to be learning for the first time that her sister was killed by the Russians when you're showing her these photographs, or you're showing her this footage where it's explained to her. I'm presuming that that's the first time she heard about it.
Yeah.
Did you think twice about including that in the film? Because it strikes the viewer as, well, rather a harsh thing to put a mother through. The first time that she finds out about her sister dying, you're catching it on film.
Well, I did think about a lot of choices that I made, but ultimately what I wanted to do with this story was try to be as truthful to the authentic experience of my family's life, my mother's life and my own life. And I thought I made my choices, some of the difficult choices in the film, on the basis of, would my mother mind this? And just knowing my mother, I don't think she would have said, I don't want that in the film, ultimately. So that informed my choices. What would my mother think about me including this moment or that moment?
It's not often that you talk to someone who has related to a parent, mainly through a camera lens. Is that a fair thing to say? That a lot of your relationship with your mother is through the camera?
Well, I did spend a lot of time recording my mother, even home movies over the years. I think as a storyteller, that's how I was trying to, not through the recording of my family, just try to figure it out as well. I think that was just my natural inclination, using a camera to explore the family dynamics and talk to my mother. And I have to say, she was always incredibly accommodating, bemused by this activity. I'd arrive with a camera and stick it in front of her and she'd think, oh, here we go again, but would always be happy to cooperate and be involved.
Of all the things in life that we take for granted, it's hard-working parents who do their utmost to provide the best life that they can for their kids. This film does remind us to appreciate them and to appreciate their backstory a lot more. Was that intentional, that message, or am I just gleaning that out of a sense of guilt?
Look, I didn't know that I was doing that consciously, but I can see, looking back, that's in fact what I was trying to do. And certainly people who have seen the film have come up and said, oh, look, I feel that I want to go and try and sort out my relationship with my own family now, having seen your film, because it has triggered this fact that people tend to take their parents for granted, and suddenly they're not there, and there's all this stuff that they don't know about their family, and they haven't resolved their maybe difficult relationships. And yeah, it's a reminder of how important it is to just not take our parents for granted.
How did you feel once you'd finished the film?
Once I'd finished the film, that was an enormous satisfaction to me, because I really feel this time that I'm done with the family story. I made 3 attempts, 2 in fiction, Letters from Poland, and then Silver City, and this time, as I was making this 3rd attempt, I thought I just have to get it right this time. I just really have to be as authentic to the real family story as I can be. And I feel as if I have, to my own satisfaction. It's up to audiences to see for themselves. But in terms of my own satisfaction, I've never made a film prior to this that I've been satisfied with. I've always thought, oh, I should have done that, or I shouldn't. And of course, in this case, there's all sorts of little technical things that I would have done differently now. But just in terms of the story I wanted to tell, I feel as if I've told it.
Well, it is a beautiful film, so congratulations on it. Where to now for you?
Well, this has been my first documentary. All my other films have been dramas, but now that I've made this one, I have got another film project in mind. Too early to talk about the content because I'm just exploring it, but it is another documentary. I've just found the whole process of documentary filmmaking a really joyous one, and yeah, the next one's going to be a documentary.
You've done a lot of TV as well, though?
Yes.
Yeah. More
yes,
TV?
Yeah. Well, for I think about 12 or 13 years, I worked as a freelance drama director on a television series, and that was great fun. But you know, that was a job, and it was liberating to do that kind of work rather than all the angst of dealing with your own personal projects. But now I feel I want to get back to personal projects that, you know, really mean something to me. So that's what I want to do. I taught at the film school, the Australian Film, Television and Radio School, for 6 years, from 2002 to 2008, in the directing department. That was great fun because I was working with young adult creative people, with them trying to work out their own selves as storytellers and find stories to tell, and I was involved very practically in helping them find their stories and shape their stories, and I love that process.
And can I ask, what was their attitude to relating to audiences?
Well, that's certainly something that I always try to focus on as a lecturer at the film school, that you know, you're not making it for you, for yourself. You have to find ways for your stories to resonate with an audience, and you have to find that bigger theme, that universal theme, to fit your story within. So that was something I was always on about, and for myself as well. Like, you know, I used that until I had a theme. I couldn't actually construct the narrative because, as you can imagine, I'm looking at my mother's whole life, I'm looking at my life. There's just so many episodes and details in our two lives that I could have chosen, but they didn't end up in the film because they didn't support the kind of theme of forgiveness and reconciliation. So that informed my choices, and certainly when I was talking to my students, that was something that I was always just emphasising, that it's one thing to say, oh, I've got this good story and this happens and then that happens and then the other. That's just a narrative. That's not a universal story. You have to find some way that that narrative connects with audiences' own experiences.